Shooting once it's got dark can be really tricky, but it can produce some really cool and dramatic looking pictures. So down here, for example, at the water's edge, I've got all of this river going past me here. I've got some nice detail under the surface of the water, and shooting a long exposure is going to be what gets me a frame that has lots of detail, lots of brightness in it, and it's also going to produce the really cool effect of blurring the water as it goes past. It's going to look really neat. By default, your camera wants to shoot a short shutter speed for absolutely everything, because that is where sharp images are normally found. But for a frame like this, what I actually want is a very long, draggy shutter to make the most of this foreground moving there. But I think it's going to produce a really awesome looking frame. So if I come over onto this camera's Pro mode, I have all of these options, including Auto ISO, which I'm going to set to ISO 100, as low as it can go. And I also have this manual shutter speed here, which I can set as fast as 1,000th of a second, totally underexposed, totally dark, or all the way up to 30 entire seconds, which is of course very overexposed. It looks to me like a happy medium is probably around that, about 1/4 of a second, maybe a little bit short. It is about right here, and I think that that's going to be a really cool looking frame that does something with the movement in front of me. Obviously we're shooting off a tripod here, because if I try and hand hold any camera for that amount of time, it's going to be a shaky mess. And speaking of shaky messes, I'm also going to deploy another trick here, which is using this camera's self timer, so that it doesn't trigger when I push the button to take the picture. It's going to wait a couple of seconds, which is going to allow everything to settle before the shutter goes off. So what I can do here is get into this self timer mode, which can be as short here as 3 seconds. So at 3 seconds there, if I get rid of that menu, hopefully these ducks are going to go away. Get out of my frame, ducks. There we go, and with them clear, I'm going to hit the button. We get 3 seconds for everything to settle down. Back off absolutely everything, stay really still so that none of my movement through the ground goes into the tripod, and I think that's going to produce a really moody, cool looking abstract frame. This frame I think is kind of on the right path, but it's not exactly what I was hoping for. I think this is the result of a slightly too quick shutter speed. You can see there's quite a lot of detail, sharpness in the waves here and the ripples on the water, and as a result this reflection, which could look really cool, is just disrupted a bit. It doesn't quite do the trick. This frame, as you can see, is overexposed. All of this top right hand corner here is just white. There is absolutely no detail in it. Again, the result here of a shutter speed that was just too long, and that means that it has bloomed on the sensor and got brighter and brighter and brighter until I lose all the detail. I can see that I've got lots of detail underneath the water here, which is what I was looking for, so we're on the right track, and maybe just waiting a few minutes for it to get a little bit darker would have been the ticket there. This frame I really like. This is exactly what I was hoping for. As you can see, we can see straight through the ripples on the water because it's blurred past the camera as I was shooting. You can see the rocks down at the bottom. I really love this purple colour cast as well. This is actually the result of the camera getting its white balance wrong. That's why you've got this shift in colour, but I actually really like it. I think it looks really cool. I also really like this horizontal shelf down here at the bottom. It really anchors everything in terms of geometry and composition, gives the image a nice kind of bedrock to sit on, and the end result I think is a really good looking frame.